moyens.
You know, Hemingway once said that everyone should write their autobiography in 6 words. So I have.
I see.
Grew up poor, never left school.
I see. Got it.
There are people like myself who tend to be very libertarian, and I still believe in community, but I believe in it as a group of individuals with very unique backgrounds and personalities and life experiences that agree to come together.
Yeah.
But I can remember being in, say, 10th, 11th grade, even 12th grade, it was like there was this fearful, you know, chasm in front of me that, boy, if this doesn't happen to me, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yes.
You can be the deer in the headlights, or you can run like a, you know, like the Dickens.
Right, I got it.
Yeah, so here I am. You know, I'm a college president. I have a doctorate. I speak a different kind of language than street language, let's say, and my behavior and dress is more conservative. People have no idea, if they meet me, that I grew up dirt poor, that my parents were high school dropouts, that my dad was a janitor. You know, my mother worked in other people's houses and took in laundry and washed it and pressed it and delivered it, and, you know, all of these kind of household services.
Remember, but what was the story you told yourself as a child, given that your mom was taking in laundry and your dad was working as a janitor?
Well, so this is another one of those 1960s songs, you know.
Okay.
Eric Burdon and the Animals. I gotta get out of this place if it's the last thing I ever do.
So you were kind of singing that song before it made the pop charts.
Right, right.
You didn't experience this as what you experienced, the possibility of escape, for want of a better word.
A different life. But you know, both of my parents actually encouraged that. You know, I mean, the kind of talk that I got, and I can hear it in my head. You don't want to have all the struggles we had. You don't want to live the kind of life that we've had to live. You deserve better. And the way out of it is a good education. And they didn't have it for themselves, but they realized it. I had people rooting for me behind the scenes. I had teachers who were recommending me. Who, you know, I had no awareness of, at the time, of what they were probably doing behind the scenes. That are defined for other people, by other people, and they may be a perceivable community, or they may not be a community, or they may resent being put into parts of you know, what that other person says is a community. I mean, to me, that's not really empathetic, because you're defining the other, and I think that's a dangerous zone to go into. But a lot on that. I'm not so sure we focus on the self-talk and the image of self that can be very searing in the memory of somebody who's emerged from, you know, an impoverished background. So I was rather shy and embarrassed about my circumstances when I was young, and education and some of the friends and some of the people I met in college helped pull me out of that and become, you know, a little more assertive, a little more comfortable around all types of people. And I think that's an aspect of poverty that we don't examine as much.
how do you get a balance between the mission, which is education and transformation and community and a number of things that are validly inspiring, and this thing, profit and loss? Can you speak to that?
Yeah,
no.
Speak to that. Well, I think for a lot of people, they say, how can you have educational quality if you've got a certain amount of profit coming out on top of that? Now, just 2 or 3 things. The short, easy answer is my budget for intercollegiate athletics, for landscaping and groundskeeping and deferred maintenance on buildings that we own and that kind of stuff. My budget for that is 0. So, and for you,
the cost is right.
The average
the price
cost
is right
for a lot of those different elements in a traditional institution, an independent institution of higher learning. It's probably at least equal on average to what the whole profits are for the for-profit. So it's just which bucket they come in. The other thing is, I think people think that.
So that would be low overhead. Let me.
Low
overhead. Let me in that category.
Right. Right. And if you put all of the different expenditures into different categories, there are certain categories that you just typically don't find. You also this is just a fact of what Father Minogue likes to call it, the tax-paying privates. Is that generally they offer a more limited range of programs. And those programs are related to much more directly to identifiable careers. They can be at one level, they can be someone who wishes to get certified as a medical assistant working in a doctor's office and may require an associate degree with some specialized medically related training. And then at the end where Argosy is, it's people who want to become licensed clinical psychologists, and it requires a clinically based doctoral degree. So it's a whole range. What we don't have are English majors, like myself, or philosophy majors, or other subjects. We don't have a wide range of disciplines as a sector in a typical institution, and therefore we don't have to practice and I'm using this in a budgetary sense, a form of internal socialism. Now, there are tons of institutions that have teacher education programs and they're known throughout higher education as cash cows, because the faculty costs for an adjunct professor in education are quite low compared with a faculty member, let's say, in engineering. And it's perfectly fine that an academic institution can have those cross subsidies, if you will. There's nothing wrong with it. But within the tax-paying private sector, because of the narrower focus on a narrower range of curriculum, generally you gain both efficiencies, and you're not going to intentionally go out and look for a program of study for which your tuition revenues don't exceed what your expenses are. But you have plenty such programs in other types of institutions. But we heard testimony about a study that's been done about the non-economic benefits of a higher education. For example, in countries with higher levels of education and the individuals with higher levels of education, they tend to value democratic principles in their governmental structures, as opposed to totalitarianism, authoritarianism. They're less subservient. They tend to be involved, civically engaged, or involved in community service and philanthropic giving. And you can go right on down a whole list of what would generally be seen as, positive attributes to have in your citizenry.
Yes.
And then they put a price tag on the value of that. And the price tag per individual was that it added another $25,000 per year on average for each individual who had a college degree.
Sure.
Each individual in that society, the social capital was $25,000 per head greater per year.
Interesting.
I think all over the higher education landscape, whether you're talking with the professoriate or you're talking with administrators, you find people who value education precisely because for them it was a vehicle that created social mobility, advancement in status, if not wealth, at least status, and the intellectual tools to help them become more self-actualized and have a greater sense of efficacy.
Yeah.
And I think they value that, and I think they're somewhat messianic. They're somewhat, as a group, and I probably am too. They want to share this with other people and allow them to achieve some of those insights, and so that's an empathetic aim.